I look back, I'm like, not that long ago, like I was like homeless. I was like living in my car, just like trying to figure out where I'm gonna stay and like couch surfing just to get by. And now we're going to Tahiti. Like we're going to Bora Bora.
Hi,
Hi everybody. I'm Eden.
and I'm Jay.
And welcome to Eden XJ Unfiltered, the podcast where we have created a safe and sexy space to have unfiltered conversations. God damn, why can't I get it out?
Brr, 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 brr.
At least one of us is on cue today. I also want to let you all know, go follow us on EdenXJ. If you haven't yet, on everything, there are so many different things happening on different platforms. And there's a lot going on that we don't want you to miss. So
We
go check
also
it
just
out.
hit 100K on Instagram.
Double pepper.
Yeah, that's a big accomplishment.
It happened quicker than we anticipated because we had this whole plan to do with these like gold balloons this Sunday, and it is not Sunday yet. And so I hope y'all don't mind us being a little bit late because clearly we're always running late. And we're gonna do like a really fun shoot with them. And we've got a couple of cool montage videos that I feel like the OG fans who have, I hate calling fans. I feel like they're family. The OG fam that has been here for the past like 3 years will appreciate because
Yeah.
then they're gonna see things that they haven't seen in a really long time.
Yeah.
They can also reminisce with us and be like, "Whoa, that happened."
Started from the bottom, now we're here.
Yeah, literally the bottom. Like the times when, oh my gosh, you had your other car, the time that we bought a house, the time that we eloped. There were so many milestone moments that people who have been a part of our journey for so long, like it's beautiful to go back and look back
Yeah.
and to reach 100K from then until now is just so cool.
Heck yeah.
And we couldn't have done it without you all. We couldn't have done it without the support of everybody because some days were hard to keep going. I'm not going to lie, but they always pull us back and remind us how much bigger putting our love out there and putting our lessons out there is. And so it keeps us motivated, it keeps us going.
Aw,
I'm
I'm just excited to be here.
just happy to be here. Oh, well, I'm glad you're happy to be here. Are you wakes?
I'm ready. Let's do
You're
it.
ready. So we did want to kick off the podcast with something that we saw on TikTok because we are on TikTok. We are TikTokers. And being on that platform quite a bit, you do see some things that are like a little bit shocking or stand out more than usual. And there was a video that we saw that stood out to us, and
Yeah,
it
there
was
was.
talking about Florida.
Yep, go ahead.
So basically, there was this woman, her and her girlfriend are living in Florida. They've been in Florida for a very long time. I think one of them must have grown up there and has family and friends there. And they had a conversation that was, what is our breaking point? Like, what is the point that we're going to pull out and we have to move Florida out of Florida because it's no longer safe? And they, were listening to the news and hearing all the things that have changed. And now they finally reached that point.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot happening in Florida. You've got the 6-week abortion law. You've got the Don't Say Gay bill.
Mhm.
You've got the AntiTrans Bill. You've got so much going on in Florida right now that I don't blame them.
Mhm. I think as a same-sex couple and for us, something that was interesting that they brought up that was very concerning, was learning that there's a new bill that's like up on the table
Mhm.
to be voted on about families being able to interject and basically take away the children if they believe that the parents are, helping them get gender affirming like
That's
any sort of
insane.
gender affirming treatment or surgeries or really anything. So it's not even you, like outside members of your family can just come in and potentially take your kids away. And that, I think for them, that was the straw. It was that, and that there's a bill that's trying to be passed where a doctor or healthcare insurance can deny you services if they feel like it goes against their
Morals
morals
or
or their moral
religion.
compass.
That's
And
insane.
and
Yeah.
so they're like, we're out. This is it. Like if we can't go to the hospital, if we can't be safe with our kids, if we, if it's very clear that now they're even talking about taking away pride in the state of Florida. It's very clear that they do not want us here. It's not safe. And the fact that they have a travel advisory.
That part, I have never heard of a travel advisory for LGBTQ within the United States, ever.
No.
That's insane. I don't feel comfortable. I don't think we'll be taking our kids to Disney World anytime soon. And,
Yeah.
like, road trips. I think about road trips, right? Like, road trips are such like, I used to do them all the time when I was a kid, and now thinking about doing
Mhm.
that with our future kids, I'd be so scared. It's like certain states that I wouldn't feel comfortable, to your point, attending. What if, like, they get sick? What if we have to take them to the doctor? What if we get stopped by anybody that
Mhm.
isn't for, equal rights? Like, that's a problem.
I mean, you go and you think about some times that we've been out to Florida, but it's mainly Miami.
Oh, Miami's different. Miami is like LA.
But if they're talking about
But yes,
putting
no, I
this
hear you.
throughout the whole state, like,
Yeah.
once you cross over
Yeah, yeah,
into
yeah.
those state lines, it is good luck, and Miami is a part of that.
Yeah, yeah.
And this is why I'm so shocked because Miami has such a big gay, like, presence
Yeah,
and
huge.
population that, like, I just don't know how this is going to affect such a predominantly, like, what would be considered, like, a queer safe space.
Yeah.
We've seen some of the best drag shows and, like, the best performances out in Miami.
Yeah.
Some of our most, like, memorable moments were, celebrating Pride out there in Miami, and it's so fun 'cause there's a huge, like, Latin
Yeah. Shout out to
population.
the Palace
At the
in South
Palace.
Beach. That is the best drag show in Miami,
We've lost a
hands
lot of
down.
money there. Yeah,
Yes.
definitely. We've lost a lot of $1 bills over Jay's toxic trait is like when she gets to a certain point in the unlimited mimosa brunch, like there's no
Listen,
limit on that bank account.
they work really hard, and if there's a drag queen that is, like, sliding down poles and getting on buildings and doing splits in the middle of the street, they deserve 20s.
Oh, 100%. I know they deserve it, but can we afford
Oh,
it?
that's a different question.
Yeah, but that's not a question you ask yourself
I
during
don't
that
ask
moment.
no. My toxic trait is, like, pretending I have more money than what I have in the bank account
But
when
that's
I'm drunk.
but that's also why I love you so much because, like, even in these moments, you have such a beautiful moral compass. Like, when we're at the strip club because we're that couple, we love going to strip clubs together,
We do.
and that's just, like, so much fun for us. So much that there is a particular strip club that we do love that's here in La I don't mean to digress because Florida is such a very serious topic, but just really quickly, there is a strip club here in LA that we absolutely love. Like, that is our play we've spent many times there, but also the food. The food is really good. They have, like, some of the best sushi that I've
Certain
had. Yeah,
strip
certain.
clubs have good food. Not
Yeah.
all, as I've been to some shitty strip clubs
I'm
with not good food.
but this one
But
in
this one has really
particular,
good one.
where it's so much so that I actually really do love going there for the food,
Yeah,
where
sushi, really
I'm
good
like,
sushi.
"Can we go get sushi?"
Yeah.
And it just happens to also be a really great strip club that we love so much. But Jay, when she sees a stripper that is a person of color, she
Oh,
instantly
yeah.
tips double.
Immediately.
And it's because, like, they don't make as much
They
money.
don't,
No,
and they
no,
get the shitty, set times and, like, the shitty schedules, and you're right, they don't make enough money, so I it is our duty to go
Mhm.
and support these strippers or whoever these performers are,
Women of color.
women of color, and just help them out.
So even in these moments, like, her she's justified and her moral compass is, like, very, very straight on. There's a person of color stripper, I'm tipping her double. The same
Yes.
thing, like, when we go to Miami and we go to the Palace, it's like when you see a performer that is killing it always, like, it just all flies away, and then you're running to the ATM to go get more.
Yes, because they deserve it.
They do deserve it,
But
rightfully
it's so
so.
scary, Florida's scary right
It's
now,
scary to
and
imagine that going away.
yeah.
And we do, we love Miami, and it's things that you think about. We haven't been, but there is, like, a lesbian, I think, like, not festival, it's like a day, like a weekend.
Yeah, it's similar to
Girls
Dinah Shore,
It's
but
similar to
it's
Dinah
in
Shore out
Florida.
on that
I think it's in
coast.
Orlando.
Orlando, but just
Yeah,
Florida.
yeah, yeah.
And we've been talking about going, so it's like a whole, like, lesbian, like, weekend pool thing. And we've been talking about going for a long time, and now with this advisory,
No,
I
I'm good.
yeah, I'm too scared at this point, and I'm very nervous, and I'm afraid for people in Florida.
Yeah.
And my heart goes out to everybody who's still there, and that are handling and dealing with all of these things. And I'm just hoping that everybody just stays safe, but, like,
Mhm.
what makes me nervous about Florida is that when you think it can't get worse, somehow they just fucking figure out how to just push that envelope so much, and I don't know where that line is, and I'm nervous to find out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was that TikTok. So that was a lot of unpacking, which I'm thankful to have TikTok because then we get to see different things that are happening
Yeah.
in different areas. But then also Coachella has been just like blowing up our feed.
Coachella just happened, and it's gonna happen again this weekend.
Mhm.
Everybody's talking about Frank Ocean's performance. He was 45 minutes late.
Yeah.
He sang 3
Like somebody else you
songs,
know.
like my co-host over here. Yes, I think he only sang, like, 3 or 4 songs,
Yeah.
and from the footage that we've been seeing on TikTok, he was kinda pacing back and forth. He wasn't really singing. There
Yeah.
was a lot of, like, backtrack music going on, and
I think the expectation was different
yeah,
for a headliner at Coachella. I've actually personally never been to Coachella.
I
So
know. I've
I
been
know.
5 times.
Yeah. Well.
I love Coachella. I love Coachella. I don't love how expensive everything is.
Mhm.
Like, 1 breakfast burrito and 2 waters is, like, $65. I don't miss that
Fuck.
at all. I don't miss the sandstorms. I don't miss the winds. I don't miss the walking from, like, half a mile to another half a mile to try and catch your favorite acts because there's 3 or 4 stages, I think, at this
It's
point.
so bougie, it's hard to imagine if you are so bougie, it's hard to imagine you roughing it.
This was a young baby J.
A
This
baby
was
J?
yeah, I've even done the camping. I've done the camping right on the grounds of Coachella.
Oh,
That is
man.
rough. But I mean, I think I would go back if I could get helicoptered
You're one of
into
those.
yeah, if I can get helicoptered into the events, skip the lines, and then maybe get a go-kart that just takes me from stage to stage,
Oh my
and then
god.
maybe, like, a chef that's in the back, like, making gourmet food throughout the event and some misters, I'm down.
Yeah,
I'm
and
so
you
down.
want a massage to, like, follow you
Yes,
around,
at the end of the night,
masseuse?
a massage would be amazing.
Okay, well, Jay is a manifester, so if this happens, I'm sure all of you all will see what I see, that she is a manifester, and you heard it here first.
I love Coachella. Maybe I'll go. I mean, we've been talking about I think I'd go if I was pregnant
Yeah, well, I think
for fashion reasons.
we had to make some choices,
Yeah.
this year financially because we were doing IVF
Yeah.
and Coachella is very expensive.
Yes, you're
Mm,
talking about 2 Gs minimum
mhm.
per person
Yeah,
for 1 weekend,
that's a lot of money.
and you're still in California. You're not
Ye
leaving California.
You could go to Bali, y'all, for the price of
I'm not
Coachella.
knocking it. I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying, like, priorities have definitely shifted between my 20s and my 30s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think we kinda made a choice and we're like,
Yeah.
"Okay, well, we won't do Coachella this year because we have a couple of bigger things like a festival and a tour and a baby and a wedding and all those things." So we're gonna put a pause on Coachella, but who knows, maybe next year. But next year, if all things go well, you will be maybe preggers.
Yeah.
So maybe we can have
I
a
wanna
bit
have
of Rihanna moment.
that's what I want. I want a Rihanna moment at Coachella, like, just belly out, lingerie, some boots, maybe my buns and a big
Helicopter
yeah.
still in the picture.
I'm down. Hopefully, putting it in the universe.
I think I would be so nervous about people bumping into you. I would be like, I would have a security suit on
Yeah.
with, those boppums, sock and boppums.
Yeah,
Those
yeah.
like inflatable boxing
Or you
gloves, and
just
I'll just
punch
start
everybody.
punching people to move out of the way,
Yeah, and a
or I'll just
bathroom.
put you in a bubble.
Yeah, and a private bathroom because if I'm pregnant, that means I'm peeing, like, every 5
Do
seconds.
pregnant people have private bathrooms at Coachella? I feel like that should be a thing.
I don't know, but we
Who do we
should
gotta talk to
petition.
make that
We will
happen?
talk. We will
Yeah.
talk to someone.
We need to make this happen. Because if not, it's gonna be baby mama's gonna be wearing a diaper.
I'm not opposed to
I'm just
diapers.
joking. No, ew. Poor baby.
I'm not opposed to it.
But
But
I
yeah,
I think it would be an interesting memory, that is for
I
sure.
definitely wanna go to Coachella with you at least once. You've never done it. I think you should
No,
do it
but,
at
like,
least
how messed up is
once.
that my baby would have gone to Coachella, like,
Before
literally
you
before I did. I had a chance. I was very, very close to going to Coachella right before we met, but
who's the hoe that was gonna
I
take you?
know,
Tell me
it
right
was my
now.
ex.
I
But
knew it.
ah!
I knew it.
They had, really they had, like, artist passes, and it would have been a very different experience,
Well, if
but
she had artist passes, then you should have done it
yeah,
for
I
sure.
just, I couldn't because it
That's
was
all
one of those where
access.
we made the plans and all that stuff was gonna happen, and then we ended up breaking up, and then we still agreed that we could still go because that would be awkward,
And you
but
didn't go?
no, because I'm a Gemini, I just can't fake the funk, and
Yeah,
so for
that's
us to
true.
be broken up around people that we all know together
Oh, were
and
you had to pretend? You would have to
we would have to
pretend.
pretend like things are okay because we didn't
Eek.
tell everyone yet that we were broken up,
Oh, that's not
and
good.
yeah, it would have just been awkward,
And there would have been so much eye candy,
but
like
it was the Bad Bunny, Rosalia, it was like the
that's the
whole
one that
land
I
that
went
I would have seen you, that's
to.
why I was laughing because I would have seen you
You know
maybe
what's
back
wild? You would've
yeah,
seen me because that was the only year that I had an artist pass.
yeah,
The only year because, the person that I worked for had a stand, and he was, like, a
yeah,
special guest, and he ended up giving me an artist pass,
mhm,
and listen, if you've never been to Coachella with an artist pass, that's, like, the only way to do it. You are allowed everywhere in every corner, you're allowed backstage, there's
yeah.
food, there's alcohol, you rarely pay for
I was
anything.
this close.
That would have been worth it. I would have faked the funk for an artist pass.
I couldn't do it, and then I would feel guilty because 'cause I'm like, "Oh, man," but, no, I couldn't do it, but, I'm glad I didn't because now my first experience won't be
Aw.
this kind of, awkward, tarnished thing, I get to spend it with you and,
Aw, thanks,
make
babes.
better memories, and it's interesting because I feel like I've heard this conversation come up before that, when you find your soulmate and you actually talk about all the times you've crossed paths, I think more and more couples that I've heard, that happens to, it's so fascinating because when we started putting pieces together, speaking of Frank Ocean, we were both at FYF
Yeah, the year
Fest
that he performed.
the year that he performed, and the amount of times that we just kept, missing each other, or maybe we saw each other and bumped into each other and we didn't know it.
No, I would have remembered.
Aw.
There's no way.
I don't maybe
There's
not.
no way.
I was not as I was not as cute as I am now. Maybe I would have, blended into the distant I know, actually, maybe I was cuter. But it was such a we were so close, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? And, it goes to show you timing is everything
Mhm.
because even had we bumped into each other, it wasn't the right time.
Oh, I wasn't ready
Like,
for this
I
kind of
wasn't
love.
I wasn't ready emotionally, physically,
I would have
communicationally.
self-sabotaged all the way home.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that wouldn't have happened.
I was still in my toxic era at that point, and so timing is everything, and that's crazy how things work, right? And not only is it timing, but it's work. And going back and thinking about Frank Ocean, like all that time ago, and he did lose his brother, and he did
Yeah, 3 years ago.
put that on social media that he's still dealing. And, I'm 3 years after losing my mom and I'm still dealing. So celebrities are still human. I think we have to remind each other like, hey, yes, I know that they're held to a different standard, but they still have emotions just like anybody else. They still bleed just like everybody else. And they grieve. And grieving hits people very differently. And he's an artist to a T. He's not a performer, he's an artist. And I think artists have this very different way of expressing themselves.
You're not
And
wrong.
yeah,
3 years isn't enough to grieve. And I think he said that he hadn't been to Coachella since his brother passed away. So
that
that
must
must
be
have been
hard.
a really hard pill to swallow as well.
Mhm.
I'm sure he was thinking about his brother and how cool that would have been to do it with, you
Yeah.
know, him by his side.
And I think speaking about that, like uh, the topic of today we really wanted to give everybody is actually the update on our wedding, right? So there is a lot of things happening because the last thing that we told people, which was that we got scammed at our
'Cause we did.
because we did, and she doesn't want to fucking admit it, and she's a horrible person. But the last wedding planner that we tried to work with tried to scam us, and we fired her immediately. And now we're partnered with like a really great wedding planner, and it has been a kind of a roller coaster of whirlwinds because not only are we planning this wedding because we moved the wedding up a whole year
Mhm.
because we found out that the baby timeline had to move up for medical reasons. And so now we're scrambling to have a baby and, like, have a wedding and now have a festival. So it's just all of those things kind of
Yeah.
combined, and I just kind of wanna talk about the process of, as we're planning this wedding, what goes with it? Family, right?
Yeah.
And there is a loss that has happened. There's a loss and there's a grief of me, 3 years later losing my mom. You're still grieving a person that is very well still alive
Yeah.
and is choosing not to be a part of that. So, I think, like, wedding talk wise and just being unfiltered and honest.
Weddings are triggering. They
Yeah.
can be triggering. I'm not saying this is the reality of everyone, but for a lot of people, especially in the LGBTQ community, it's triggering. A lot of us don't have the support of our family. A lot of us like have to walk down the aisle by ourselves. There's a lot of I don't know. It's like bittersweet, I think. And I think that's kind of what we're dealing with right now is
Mhm.
I love that we're getting married. We for those of you that are new here, we eloped 2 years ago. 2 years ago?
You asking me or are you
We eloped 2 years ago, December 24th.
ooh,
What? Am I wrong?
it's gonna be 3 years this
Yeah, but
year, but
is
it
it
was 2 years
is
ago.
it 3 years? Where's
It's
my
going to be 3 years.
wrong button. But the point is, it's 2 years right now, so
Mhm.
it's gonna be 3, and we we did what was smart for us, right? We wore whatever we had in the closet, we went down to City Hall, we got married, it cost $100, we ate In-N-Out, and we called it a day.
Yeah,
Like, that was our elopement, that was what we did.
yeah, that's all that
Um,
we had left in our bank account
after we
after
purchased our house, which
buying
is
a
very
house.
important for us to start this, generational wealth for us and our
Mhm.
future and our family and our kids. And I don't regret that at all. I think
No,
that was the smartest move ever, and it's
100%.
taken us 2 years to rebuild that savings account to now have the ceremony that we dreamt of.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited that we get to do this with, our chosen family.
Our, like, final guest list is coming to an end.
Yeah.
We're, like, locking in the final people who are RSVPing,
Yeah.
and now that, we're starting to find out who's coming and who's not, it's interesting to see the dynamic and how things worked out.
Mhm.
Like, I invited, people on my dad's side. I don't think I invited anybody on my mom's side, if I'm honest. So 0 out of 0 will be attending, so that's like 100%. 100% of the zeros, will be attending, and that's fine. But I've been very honest about my relationship with my mom's family because so many of them really hurt me during the funeral as my mom was dying and all of those things, like, they stole from her, and I haven't been able to forgive, and I don't think I ever will forgive, and I'm okay. I forgive myself for being as angry and wild, at that funeral, but I let that go. But you can choose who you want to have in your life on your special day.
Mhm.
And so I did invite some family members, on my dad's side as well, and only my dad will be attending. And I think there was a point in time where I think even you kind of brought it up. You're like, "Oh, are you going to go confront them? Are you going to go confront people and ask, like, why aren't you coming?" And blah, blah, blah. And I think 100% you were right. And I think just hearing you say that has really made me reflect on how I have changed
Mhm.
throughout the relationship.
Totally.
Because I think I would have definitely, that is my go to, is I need answers. Like, you need to tell me why you're not coming and, like, what is going on. But now I just let it go. I'm like, cool, if you are not RSVPing and you're not responding back to my text messages, it's a wash. I don't need to know why you're not coming because you gave me your answer by just kind of ignoring, and I don't want you at my wedding now. And I'm okay with that. I don't need to know why. And I let it go. And I've come into this maybe time and space where I just let things go. Just like,
Look
goodbye,
at this growth.
caca, and let it fly. And just, that's fine. If I'm not gonna force anybody to be a part of something that they don't want to.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
that's cool with me too. And now I know who does want to. And I'm gonna invest more time and energy in the people who are putting in the effort to come.
Yeah.
N- Granted, that's not everyone. There are people who very much want to be there, and our wedding is in, Oaxaca, and it is
Yeah, it can be
expensive.
expensive for sure.
And I understand that, finances are tight and that's okay too. And those are people like I'm okay. Like I know that they love me even though that they can't come. And like that's a very different circumstance, but they've talked to me and they've told me.
Yeah.
And so I mean that's kind of something that I've been dealing with. Like how are you feeling?
I think I don't know. I think it's mixed. I think
Mhm.
some days are lighter than others. I think when as a little kid, I envisioned like my mom being at my wedding and
Mhm.
my mom having like my first dance with my mom because I didn't grow up with my dad.
Yeah.
So there are certain things that I had dreamt of that aren't gonna happen for obvious reasons. And I think now that we're 3 months away, I think 3, 4 months away from the wedding, it's hitting for sure. It's things that I think about. I wish things were different, but I think for me, it's like learning you can't control everything. It is
Mhm.
what it is. People make their own choices. And unfortunately, like you can only keep your side of the road clean. And at
Mhm.
the end of the day, like I've said my piece. I'm happy. I'm the most happiest I've ever been with you and just our circumstances. And I know that our best friends will be there and they love us and they'll support us and
Yeah.
they're happy for us. Like that's all I want.
Yeah.
And on the other side, I'm like, well, would I even want my mom to be there? Because she
Mhm.
would be so negative and so not the vibe of the wedding
Mhm.
day.
We've been to weddings where we have seen family members who aren't supportive,
Yeah.
clearly, of the wedding that's happening, and it's awkward.
Super.
It is clearly uncomfortable where I think you kind of have your answer. You're like, "This is what would feel like
It
if you
would
have
feel
somebody
so
at your wedding."
uncomfortable.
Yeah. That you don't want there. Doesn't wanna
Yeah.
be
Or
there.
doesn't want to be there and just feels forced to be there. I
Yeah.
don't want that vibe.
I don't either, and we're gonna be honest with y'all. Like, we have only planned the wedding structure, right? So we have the flowers, we have the location, we
Decorations.
decorations, we don't have the
We have
ceremony
tables
we got tables, we
and
got
chairs.
chairs.
That's important.
People can sit,
And a dance floor.
and
That's
they can
important.
dance,
And we got a DJ.
and we got a DJ, and that's it.
We got no food yet.
We got no
And no
food,
alcohol.
no booze, no, dresses.
No dresses, which is
We do have makeup. I
we
do
have
have a lash girl who is coming, who's, like, our bestie, and she's coming all the way out, and she's also gonna do our lashes.
dresses are hard.
We don't have dresses. Like, I know all of you are probably like, gasped in Spanish. Um,
3 months out and no dresses.
there's no there's no dress place that will take us, I think, at this point. I don't think that we can walk into a
No.
bridal store and we're gonna be like, "Our wedding is in 3 months," and they're gonna be like, "Is this 90 Day Fiancé? Like, are you getting what is happening? Like, what do you mean only 3 months?"
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm like, "Fuck, there's not gonna be any time to, like, take anything in or make any changes." So we are
That's on our to-do
stressed. It's on our
list
to-do
next
list.
week.
Clearly, it's not high enough because we haven't figured it out. But I'm trying to
But
just
here's
not
the
stress
thing,
out.
and that's what I was gonna say. I think society puts so much pressure on you have to have the perfect dress and the perfect shoes and the
Mhm.
perfect like it doesn't matter if I can show up in like a I don't know, a thrifted dress and I think it would be fine. I think this
Yeah.
is all kind of made up pressure that
Yeah.
society kind of adds to weddings that
Wedding
isn't
stress?
needed. Yeah.
Wedding stress, stress, stress?
Like I'm excited to just hang out with my favorite people uninterrupted for a weekend.
I just wanna
I
get
can't remember
drunk
the
and
last
eat
time we got
tacos
to do that.
with our friends.
Yeah, like just
Yeah.
literally hang out and it's Oaxaca. It's beautiful as it on its own.
You know what the struggle for me is and why I haven't been able to prioritize this and pull the trigger is that now that we are in like kid mode, like baby mode, we're in like
Yeah.
embryo mode, but now that we have kids, I can't rationalize spending
Yeah,
$3,000
that's another
on a
thing.
dress that I'm gonna wear one fucking time and it's gonna get dirty. It's
Yeah.
gonna get so dirty, it's gonna get thrashed. I'm never gonna wear it again. And there
True.
goes $3,000. You know what I can use $3,000 for? I can get the snoo.
Embryos.
I can get a freaking diapers, I can get all these things. So I just as much as I want to, I can't. And
Yeah.
I'm really struggling with that. And maybe y'all can send us an email and advice on like, am I crazy? Should I just pull the trigger and get a dress? But money to me just looks so different. And I think maybe that's why people get married and then they have kids later, but because those are two different mindsets that you have to be in. But my mindset is it's in the kid mode, and I
Yeah.
just can't justify spending that amount of money
I don't
when
blame you.
they're gonna need so many other things, and I'd rather spend it on that. And so it's hard for me, and I think that's hard for me. So I'm like, I'm looking at dresses online kind of sideways, maybe Shein, I'm like, you're looking kind of cute right now. Like,
Nope.
okay, not Shein, not
That ain't
Shein.
happening.
Not happening. So, like, you know what I mean? Just, we're gonna figure it out. But that's where my unfiltered thought is, where
I don't blame
the
you.
wedding is.
And I think maybe that's why we're, like, putting that at the bottom of the priority list of the wedding.
Yeah.
We're more focused on the entertainment itself
Yeah.
and the vibe and the decorations and all that.
It's also really hard for me to imagine doing it without my mom. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that could be triggering. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. This was something she would talk about all the time. Like, she planned my whole wedding in her head, and she would talk about the dress and like what she was going to wear when we were going to go dress shopping
Mm,
together. And so this was like her vision for probably since she found out I was a girl. Like, this was always her plan, and I never thought I would be here where I'd be doing this without her.
yeah.
And so I think for me it's really really hard. But I do think that there is something special that, I know some brides are like, I'm gonna gatekeep, I'm not gonna tell whatever my special thing is. I don't fucking care. What I think is really cool that we're doing at our wedding,
Yeah.
and I love, is that we're having a like ofrenda, like a
Yeah, we're
spirit
having
table.
a muertos table, which is gonna be part of the invited, and it's gonna be its own table with your mother's pictures on there, my grandma's pictures
Hmm.
on there, and anybody that is attending can bring a loved one with them to the wedding,
Yeah.
which I think would be really awesome, and we'll decorate it and make sure they have their own alcohol and their own food and their own decorations, and it's a special table.
It's a very special table, and I feel like they're just gonna be partying in spirit with one another, and it's just gonna be this like very cool, very exclusive to unalived people table. And I'm really happy that our wedding planner is like really bringing that to life. That's something I'm really excited about because then
Yeah,
it feels like they're a part of it. You know what
yeah.
I mean? A part of the special day.
I agree. And another cool thing, I won't gatekeep, that I'm really excited about at our wedding is that I don't know, I'm not a fan of guest books. I think that people tend to forget about guest books. Like, it's fun in the moment, but then you put it on a shelf and you forget about it. You don't see it until 20 or 30 years later when your kids are excited about what that was like or want to do some research. So I found a company that um is a phone, like an old school telephone with a little dialer, and guests can leave uh, voice recordings throughout the
Yeah.
night. And they take all those voice recordings and they put them on a record. They press them on a record. And so we get to listen to the records after the event, which I
That's
think that's cool. That's
very
way more
you.
cool than a guest book.
There was also this, TikTok that I saw where it's, like, different things that you can do with your ashes that you didn't expect, and then one of them was, I don't know if you knew this, but you can turn your ashes into a record.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I showed it to you, and I was all, this is very you."
Yeah, yeah.
Like, if there's
Totally.
like, but could you imagine, like, "I'm gonna go play grandma on the record now." Like, it's like, it's cool, but it's weird. It's, like, cool,
I
but
think
it's
it's
weird.
cool.
It's very rad, and there was one where it's, tattoos. Like, you can put people's ashes in the ink and then get a tattoo,
I
and
wonder how sanitary that is.
I don't
Like,
know. I don't know how logistical these things are, or like how well thought out they are.
yeah.
But I did think that the record was cool. I'm like, I don't even know how they would do that. Would they just like sprinkle your dust on there and then you just
Probably. Like little swirls on the record.
Would you make your own like RIP playlist for the record? Like,
Oh, for sure. I've thought about this. I've
when I
thought about
die.
making my own like playlist in case I go before you, just so that you know the vibe of
What?
the event. Because I want it
Stop.
to be an event. Like, it has to be like a preciosa night if I
Oh my,
die.
we're
Like,
gonna
it's
have a
gotta be.
preciosa like funeral
Yeah,
party.
that's what I want.
Oh no.
Yeah, and all
That's
my favorite DJs like Lady Soul, Kill by Synth, they all have to do like 30-minute sets, and it's all
oh
got to be
man.
themed. I should start on that now, just in case.
Do not. You better not. Do not dare. Like, that is, we're going together. We're like, scoot over. That coffin is going to be made for the both of us. I'm not going without you.
Murder suicide.
It's got to be like the Notebook. Somehow we got to figure out how we're going to do this together.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
But I feel like that's just something. very, very different, right? That we wanna incorporate, like, having the spirit table at our wedding, which I think is really cool, and any of you all wanna take that idea, please go for it, like, here, open book. Is there anything that, any advice you can give with other people that are getting married this year, having wedding stress, not having their dress? Like, what is some advice?
I think one thing that I've noticed at many weddings is that the bride and the groom are so stressed out by what the family wants them to do on that special day. And I think there's there like you should really try and prioritize what you want to do as like the people getting
Mhm.
married. Because I've noticed it at weddings that we've gone to and
Yeah.
also friends that have gotten married, none of them really enjoyed their wedding day. That's what I
Yeah.
hear over and over again is that they were so stressed with making sure that everybody else was having a good time and their in-laws were having a good time and everybody was happy that they didn't even get to eat or like hang out or enjoy the day. And if you're spending, I mean, I think on average weddings now are like $30,000. Like
Yeah.
that's a lot of money that you're spending on one day and you're telling me you don't get to like
Yeah.
enjoy any of that?
Mhm.
That's wild.
I feel you. I feel you. I'm actually having more fun planning the preciosas than I am right now the wedding because I feel like the people who come to Preciosa are like our family.
Yeah,
Like
they're
all like thousand of you who come to each of these events. Like it's really, really it feels like community and it feels like family. And I feel like that's why Preciosa is so different, right?
yeah.
We created this Preciosa night as a movement. It was supply and demand, right? People needed this space to feel like they can be themselves and there wasn't this pressure and there weren't any cliques and they get to love who they love and be proud of their culture. And we got to make that happen less than a year ago.
Yeah.
May coming full circle, we're going to be 1 year later and now we're going to throw this epic 1 year party where we're bringing a little bit of all of the beautiful things from the past, preciosas into one night, which I think we're a little crazy,
A little bit.
a little bit, to, bring all of the elements into there. And, it started so small. It was like a small vision that became grand. And to think about us going on tour, now we're going to go to New York. And, it's going to be this different type of energy and vibe and element. And I'm excited to meet new people.
Mm.
And
So what you're saying is you're more excited about the tour than our wedding day.
I think the pressure is there because it feels very similar, right? You're wanting to put on like a great night for people.
Mhm.
But I do feel like there's just a different level of, fun and expectation because it's here versus it is a little bit challenging to throw a wedding in a different country. And so I think that's what makes me the most stressed out,
Mhm.
right? I'm like, oh, it's so hard. And it's way more expensive than throwing obviously one of our preciosas too, so I'm like, "Oh, this is, like, hard every time we have to send money that way and
I
pay for
know.
something
I
else."
know.
But I think either way, they're all gonna be a great time.
I agree. And speaking of traveling, as we were walking up here, we got the craziest email. Do you want to
No, you.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, we got an email that states that Air Tahiti is interested in sending us and a couple of other influencers to Bora Bora in about a week and a half.
Oh my god.
Dun dun dun. Yeah, so I'm super excited. Obviously we're gonna look into it, but it seems like it's legit and we might be on a plane going to Bora Bora, which I was
Crazy.
on the walk here, I was telling her, well, this is a sign. We should do our honeymoon and then get married and just work backwards.
She wants to use this free trip as our
Yes, I
honeymoon.
do.
I mean,
It's
what would you all
literally
do? What
it's
would you
literally a honeymoon destination.
It is. We're gonna be staying on, like,
The
those
little
those
huts.
huts on the water, and it's gonna be this super romantic experience, and I don't think it's gonna get more romantic than
And
this.
she declined, y'all. She's like, "No, if you're not paying for it, it's not a honeymoon."
Well, because we're working, right? This
Yes,
is a work
yes.
trip,
It
we
would be
are
a work
working.
trip.
I don't wanna work on my honeymoon, but you know what? If it is as romantic as I think it's gonna be, I might just fold in like, "Okay." this can be the honeymoon and we'll, like, figure something else
Maybe
out.
it's like a half
A
moon.
half moon?
Yeah, like, maybe it could just be, like, a half honeymoon, and then I'll make up the other
Would that
half.
be like a Splendamoon? It's not like full honey, it's like fake, it's like half
It's a splendid
Splendamoon.
moon.
It's a stevia moon.
Sure, let's do a stevia moon.
A stevia moon. Yeah,
I think it's rad. I also don't think, like, opportunities like that come to people that look like us, so I'm
absolutely
really
not.
excited because a lot of content creators that look like us, that come from our background, don't get opportunities. Getting sent to Bora Bora? Are you kidding
Yeah.
me? Like, I've only seen that in movies.
It's wild when you think back, right? Like, I look back, I'm like, not that long ago, like, I was, like, homeless. I was, like, living in my car just, like, trying to figure out where I'm gonna stay and, like, couch surfing just to get by, and now we're going to Tahiti. Like, we're going to Bora Bora, and there's this company that really loves and supports our content and wants to give us this amazing trip, and like, I get to go there with my person. I get to go and experience this with my person, and
Yeah.
I'm so excited. I'm freaking out, and, like, yes, maybe you're right. Maybe this will be like a honeymoon, and, like, you're always right. But I can't believe it's real. Like, I think I'm waiting for them to be like, "Haha, just
Just
kidding."
kidding. Sent it to the wrong
Send it to the
creator.
wrong creator, my bad. I meant the other Eden. I don't know, there's another one. But,
Uh,
the only one that matters is
but
right
it's
here.
also cool because we get to hang out, or at least it says we get to hang out with other content creators. So who knows?
Yeah,
Like, I've never
we'll
it's
make
always
friends.
fun to meet other people that are in the same industry and doing the same thing.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to this. I think we've been, we had such a great time in Bali, so I'm still on that like Bali high and that Bali kick, and I think it's gonna be an amazing adventure. And I love traveling with you. It's always fun. It's always funny. I have the best time, and I
Mm,
love showing people like how goofy and how like how unperfect our traveling
yeah,
experiences are because we just show them like what it's really like.
totally.
And that's what I love about
I
us.
think the only thing that I'm a little nervous about is that I'm not the best swimmer, and Bora Bora is all ocean, no land. So I'm gonna have to get over my fears and my anxiety for sure, but I'm really
Yeah.
excited.
Yeah, me too. I think it's gonna be beautiful, and it's beautiful that we have this opportunity. And we're really excited. So thank you, Papi Tahiti, and we're really thankful. And we can't wait. We can't next week. We fly out next week.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be
Well,
all island content.
yes, so make sure to follow at EdenXJ on
hmm
TikTok, Instagram. We're gonna be vlogging the entire thing.
Yeah, you're not gonna want
And
to
I
miss
think
it.
we're gonna be gone for like 7 days, 6 or 7 days. So it's like a full vacation.
And don't forget to follow us on social media, but also send us an email if there's any questions or advice you need. The next episode, we're going to be sharing a really great advice question that we got asking about our relationship.
Yeah.
I think they titled it like personal relationship question. I was like, ooh, I'm in. And so we're excited to, kick those off with you at the next episode. But we did want to, be transparent with everything that's happening with our wedding and letting you guys know because we got a lot of questions about it. Like, now that the baby's done, like, what's happening with the wedding? So many people are interested in so many different things, and we're trying to do our best to keep everybody updated. But this was just like a really great hang with y'all, and we loved it.
Thanks for spending your Thursday with us,
Yeah.
and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.